Cassandra. Welcome to my fall fireplace. I'm so excited that you can be here to tutor boot with me today.
Toot, toot, toot. I'm tooting all over the tutor boot.
I'm wondering now that you start off with a toot, I'm like, well, will Toot being here? I'm not sure if we're going to toot any of the things that we're talking about today, but I guess we'll find out.
No, I have some toots.
Yeah,
It's evenly spaced toots and boots.
fabulous. I love it when we can get through something and it's not just all boots. Like that feels particularly special.
Yeah, there is good news out in the world.
There is. And I think this is something that will, at least I'm hoping, be too worthy for us. Citi boost paid parental leave to match industry peers. I know that this is a topic near and dear to your heart. So I definitely wanted, this is one of the articles I was hoping you would choose so I could get your insight into it. What did you think?
All day, every day, tooting paid parental leave. And I was, okay, so the article, it's Citibank is following the lead of Morgan Stanley and offering their employees more paid parental leave. So they get a total of 24 weeks, 16 weeks for every parent, and an additional 8 for recovery for birthing parents, which is great. 24 weeks is that's a good amount of time. It's not Europe time, but it's a good amount of time for Americans. That's how much time I'm taking right now. I have 3 weeks left. And like tooting the moral of the story feels really weird for me because the moral is like, Morgan Stanley leads the way. Capitalism works. Banks are the good guys.
Yes, I understand that sentiment because I was also I'm like, okay, well, I too that they're realizing that it's like a competitive advantage, that it's
Yeah.
something that they should do, that it's something that helps them bring in employees. It's like, okay, so why aren't other industries taking cues from this though? And like, why does it have to be so patchwork and go from industry to industry or well, we know the answer to that. It's because there's no legislation required.
Yes. This is why I walk my baby up to the Capitol and the Supreme Court every day and I take photos going, hey, Capitol Hill, we shouldn't have to rely on our employer to get paid parental leave. Like that just shouldn't be a thing as literally the richest country in the world and one of only 7 countries entirely across the entire globe who does not have guaranteed paid parental leave.
Yeah.
It's bananas.
Yeah. Well, and I think that was another kind of interesting thing they point out, even within, the banks that they were talking about, is like, oh, and actually they get this much leave here and this much leave there and this much leave. And so it's still kind of from an HR perspective, that patchwork thing of having to, it becomes a complex thing to manage, especially if you're at a
Mhm.
smaller org and have global employees. It is, and if you're at a smaller org, my experience has been it doesn't matter what the cultural standard is or what the standards are in the company. People are like, well, hey, over there they get this much. Why am I not getting this much? So it can become this
Yeah.
very like complex thing to manage and to message, especially when what you're giving is like not very good.
Not very good, especially if what you're giving is we just offer FMLA, which is only available to a certain percentage of the country, and it's unpaid, and it's 12 weeks, and you're only eligible if you've been there for a year.
Yeah.
So like that's not a stopgap. We need to stop relying on moms to be the backbone of the country. Like, oh, you can just take that all that time off unpaid. Like you don't need to pay mortgage or buy groceries for your family. You don't need to recover from them slicing open your stomach
Oh,
to
yeah.
pull out a human being. No,
You can just pop out a human and keep it moving. Like, what are
pop
you?
out a human, keep it moving.
No one take that out of context, okay? That's not the message.
That is not the message. I will say, so I'm tooting this like all the way around because I love that we're calling out these companies for the ones who are doing it right, and we're also calling out the companies who are doing it wrong. And my my big shiny example of who's doing it wrong lately was Kite Baby, a maker of really expensive bamboo sleep sacks and onesies. They in January they denied parental leave They denied their 2 weeks of parental leave to an employee who was going to spend time with her adopted child who was born prematurely and who was in the NICU. And when they were denied the 2 weeks of leave, she said, okay, well, can I work remotely from the NICU? And they said, no, thanks. Just consider you having abandoned your job. They are a they are a baby company.
Yeah.
What? So again, Stacey, the moral of the story is in a world of kite babies, be a Morgan Stanley.
That wasn't the message I was expecting to get, but in this one, we'll take it. We'll absolutely take it. And I think it is also one of those things, right? Like, I mean, we'll probably talk about this, as we get into some of the other the next week's tutor boot, but like, you gotta be, as an organization, you have to be, if what you have to be doing, practicing internally what you're doing externally, or it's just
Yeah.
like the dissonance that everyone will get
Yes.
from that is just way too much. So I'm going to pop us along onto this next one, because here's another one where my mind was a little bit blown. Greece introduces a quote unquote, growth oriented 6-day working week. Oh, yeah, I know.
I mean, it's obviously a boot. And ooh.
Yeah,
Okay, so the image that comes to mind is a human heart. And when your body is sliced open and you are bleeding out, your human heart says, oh no, pump faster because we got to circulate the blood that's in the body to keep us alive. But instead, what's circulating is more blood outside the body. You're just hemorrhaging faster. And decisions that are made in a panic like this just make you hemorrhage your employees faster. All you were doing is perpetuating a cycle of burnout and talent leaving the country because, hey, the rest of Europe is instituting a 4-day work week. Why would I do 6? Like
yeah.
that makes no sense. The decision making process, I cannot comprehend how they arrived at, hey, we can't seem to attract talent here. We just came through this like
Major,
monumental crisis
yeah.
and we can't attract talent. Why don't we make it less attractive for people
Yeah.
to come work here?
I'm so glad you said that, because that was one of the things that kind of stood out for me. Was they say in the article, okay, during that crisis, a lot of young educated workers left Greece. And
Yeah,
so I was like, cool. Did they think about what they might do to incentivize folks
come
to return?
back.
Like,
Yeah,
is that something they thought about? Like, did the reason for supposedly doing this was to increase productivity? Where have they ever seen any data that doing that would increase productivity? Most likely that creates less productivity, more errors, more, workplace incidents, because people are tired, they're working longer hours. Like, there's nothing about what they're saying that computes to me. And I
that's
think
right.
the example you gave is a really good one. It's like, isn't this just going to accelerate making the problem worse?
It was. It's a very counterproductive decision. And it reminds me of the Samsung execs in Korea who said that they were going to do a 6-day work week to inject a sense of crisis.
Because that's motivating to people too. Just being like
Super
completely
motivating.
stressed out, just feeling like crisis mode. That's like definitely where I'm most productive.
The crisis will continue until the panic subsides.
Oh, woof. Okay. And then we have one more here to chat about today. It is, women can't fix the broken rung unless they acknowledge the role they play in workplace bullying and discrimination. I thought this was a really interesting one, because it's not something I've seen people talk about that much or write about that much. So, what was your reaction when you read it?
Am I allowed to curse on
Yeah.
Tutor Boot? Okay. Because I read you the
I mean,
list
have
of
you've seen
articles.
Kim's episodes, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, so I read the list of
Veteran
articles you
discretion.
sent me, and that headline stood out first.
Hmm.
And it made me, and I was breastfeeding Rosie at the time, and I let out an audible fuck because it was so bad, and I was like, oh, maybe it's not that actually bad. When I clicked into it, no, it's bad. It's really bad. The headline itself is really infuriating, and then it just gets worse from there.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm gonna quote it. So gender parity will lag another 151 years. Worse, a recent report shows that for the first time in years, the number of women in leadership is declining. Okay, so that's the premise. Women in leadership, the glass ceiling, the broken rung is declining. Cool, 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 cool. What are we gonna do about it? And then my what the fuck comes out again because she takes it in, I think, the worst possible direction, redirecting it the ire and the anger back at women and ourselves, like we are the problem. No, we are not the problem. And it sounds like reading the article, the particular author had a problem with interpersonal relationships. And I'm sure that many people do, but that is not what's stopping women from ascending to the throne.
Hmm.
Like it's the patriarchy. It's not women. So like we're talking about women in leadership, in management, leadership at C-suite. So let's talk about what the actual problems are on the way up that ladder. It's women, as women, we receive shittier and less actionable feedback. That keeps us out of management longer than our male peers. The motherhood penalty kicks in for all the women who choose to have kids, where men are rewarded with promotions and raises up to the top. Women, we get a 5% pay cut with every kid we have, and we are edged out of the workplace. Finally, only 14% of VC funding goes to women founders. So how are we going to get, if women can't get the money to build empires, how are we supposed to see more women at the top of empires? Like the conversation, it reminds me, I want to hear what your initial thoughts were, but the conversation reminds me of the people who say, I would love to see a woman president. I would love to, of course I would vote for a woman, but they cannot for the life of them name a single woman that would meet their unrealistically high expectations that they would actually press the yes, vote for that woman button. It's it's the system, it's not women.
Hmm.
I'm obviously a boot. Stacey, where are you at?
I mean, it's interesting because I read it and I was like, I think I try to approach every article with like, okay, all right, let me, where are we going? I'm like, what is this about? Where can we get to? And I'm like, okay, I understand because I think that there are, I think that the thing that like was hard for me was that it doesn't really talk about intersectional identities at all and like how all of that and everything plays into it. It really talks about like, binary gender experiences and all of that. And so for me, I'm like, okay, it feels very one dimensional, but at the same time, like there's something in there to me where I feel like I have heard some women say things like this before, where it's like I'm getting the people who have held me back, or sideline me the most have been my the managers who have been women, or things like that. So it's like I I feel like I have heard that complaint before registered, um, and I think to your point, it like misses all of the rest of like that puzzle. And it's like, yes, you could have interpersonal dynamics that are bad, and you can have people who you certainly could have had the experiences that she talks about in the article, but from a systemic lens, like that's not the thing that's causing it.
That's not the biggest contributor, not even slightly, not even close. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it's interesting. I think but when Kim and I are on, sometimes she's like, why'd you make me click on these links? Because now these articles are getting more views. Maybe this is one of those situations as well. But I think, it's an interesting conversation to have, but there's so much missing from it in that article, I think.
I think I would have liked to have seen the storytelling more storytelling from a personal perspective and backed up by more robust data. Because I did not see robust data, which then just led me to be more and more infuriated that we are once again blaming women for blaming women as the problem. It's like,
Right.
well, the reason women don't get paid as much as men because they don't negotiate as much as men, which again, we know is bullshit.
Yeah.
We do, we just are shut down and penalized for doing so.
Right.
So, moral of the story, stop blaming women.
Yeah. Mm. All right. Well, what did we do? We got 1 toot and 2 boots out of this one.
That's not bad.
You're like, given what's out in the world, that's actually not a bad ratio. All right. Well, we will conclude with that. I thank you again so much for joining me for Tutor Boot, and like that you were like, I've got research and data and I notes on these articles. I'm like, all right, let's go.
Yes, I was so excited to do some research and use my brain for something that wasn't, wait, where did we pack the cables and the cords?
All right, awesome. I am looking forward to doing a future Tutor Boot with you.
Toot toot.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Toot or Boot. You can keep in touch with me, Stacy, on LinkedIn, and be sure to subscribe to our newsletter at tootorboot.com. And if you're enjoying Toot or Boot, we'd appreciate your positive review on your favorite podcast platform.